we have one viewer who asked, having lived in the Philippines, would you still have traded, or would you still trade your Canadian life? This video is not about convincing anyone to move back to the Philippines if you're on the fence. Good morning, everybody. Today's actually M's flight out to the Philippines.
One final hug, final hug, final hug. Okay, I'll call you every single day, okay? Alright.
Bye-bye, Daddy.
Bye, guys.
Daddy, bye.
Today is officially the first day that Skye and I are going to be alone, and wish us luck. First day of many. It's going to be an entire month that we're going to be here, and M's going to be in the Philippines. So M is going to give you guys updates on, you know, the construction back in the Philippines. It's going to be a combination of M and I's update. Don't mind the mess down there. I can't really bend that low and organize that, so I'm just gonna have to pretend it's not there. Here, I know we haven't been updating our vlogs a whole lot because, you know, we've just been caught up with just the day-to-day stuff. I went to the room to give Skye water, and then I went back, and this is the situation. So it got so foggy all of a sudden. Well, I don't know if it's fog, but since it's super cold outside, we just leave our frozen croissants out there. Why not, right? I know a lot of people do this. And then sometimes we leave our drinks out there if you want to keep it cold. We have one viewer who asked, having lived in the Philippines, would you still have traded, or would you still trade your Canadian life? And I'm going to answer that question as I'm making lunch right now. So on the menu today, we have quinoa salad. So I cooked some quinoa from earlier this morning. If you guys are wondering, Skye is in the room. She is watching her show. I give her about 30 minutes of screen time a day, sometimes an hour, and that's just so I could get stuff done around the house. But you know, in the Philippines, she doesn't, oh my gosh, half of my face is not here. In the Philippines, there are some days where she doesn't get screen time at all. That's because, you know, she gets to play with a lot of different people, and she gets to spend time outdoors. You know, we go to the beach and stuff like that. But here in the winter, sometimes it's just easier to stay home because we get ourselves ready. It takes about 30 minutes, and by the time we're ready to head out, we're hungry. So yeah, it's just, and also the days here seems to be so much shorter because, you know, at around 7 in the morning, which is usually the time that Skye wakes up and then she wakes me up, it's still dark because it's winter, and then it's already dark at around like 5:30 or 6:30 for sure. It's like dark outside. I put my quinoa in here. I burnt it a little at the bottom, but that's fine. So I let it cool down. I'll also be adding some cherry tomatoes and then some diced avocado. I added some olive oil And then I squeezed some lemon in here. And I also added salt. So I tasted this already. This is perfect. And then now I'm gonna dice some avocado as a topping and put the cherry tomatoes there. I'm gonna add these guys as well, so hemp seeds and raisins. So I also added some feta cheese. This is the final product. That took me about 15 minutes. So the comment is from Law Shop, and the question was, having lived in the Philippines, would you still trade your Canadian life? I would still trade my life in Canada because of a couple of things. The primary being that our life in the Philippines is less hectic. Back then, our life in Canada is just always go, go, go. And we just kind of forget. There's just a lot of things going on that made us distract ourselves from what's really important, which is our health, our time with each other. And the second reason why I would trade my life in Canada is because of all the extra help that we get in the Philippines. We are able to, again, focus more on us and on all the things that we like to do. Like I mentioned earlier, when we wake up in the morning, it's all chores, and then, you know, we get a little bit of downtime, and then that's it, pretty much. And then if somebody's working, right? More so if we were working, there goes the day. So I feel like the realization that Em and I had, you know, a couple years before is to really live every single moment. The third reason why I would still trade my life in Canada for the Philippines is just bottom line, the lower cost of living over there. Luxury nowadays for me has changed. And for some people, luxury might mean being able to spend all the time in the world with your loved ones and having an abundance of fruits and veggies on the table every time you wake up. At least that's what it is for me. And I know Em feels the same way, and that's what drove us to the decision to move back to the Philippines. Speaking of chores, I still have to do laundry, but before I go ahead and do that, I just want to say that I feel like a lot of people have this mental block. Even the people that I talk to sometimes here, they think that, or like the younger generation, they think that Philippines is a third world country. I can think of two main reasons why a lot of people prefer to not move back to the Philippines or retire in the Philippines. One being, you know, the healthcare. Imagine having limited access to technology and resources when you have such a life-threatening crisis, right? That's not fun at all. And the second one would be education. A lot of people move to Canada to have not just higher education, but also job opportunities. So that's truly understandable. And that's actually the main reason why my parents brought us here in Canada, which I thank them so much. I'm super grateful for that. I'm super grateful for Canada for all the opportunities. The Philippines is a developing country. It has a lot of promise. In terms of healthcare, there are top healthcare facilities in the Philippines that exist already, but only in certain areas. So if you're able to access those areas, I think that you should be fine. Education-wise, there are lots of international schools in the Philippines as well. The main cities, you know, there are so many advances, progress. The roads are better, the highways, the plexes, the T-plex, N-lex, S-lex, those, thank God for those highways, because we're able to travel back and forth to Manila, visit our friends super easily. I remember back in the days when we used to travel from Quezon City to Nueva Ecija. It was so bumpy, and I had to curl up in a ball and just pray to God that I fall asleep fast, otherwise I puke. But yeah, nowadays it's super easy to travel. The last thing I want to say is that there has been increasing evidence of frequent return migration, which is basically, you know, people who have migrated somewhere else come back home. Migration is dynamic. Just because you've left your home country doesn't mean that down the road, you know, you're never gonna come back. A lot of our viewers who have commented on our videos say that, you know, you can't wait to go retire in the Philippines because it's just more fun in the Philippines. I gave you a very long answer, but essentially, yes, we are still willing to trade our life in Canada for the Philippines because of the top 3 reasons that I mentioned earlier. But there are also other reasons, like, you know what, having mostly summer days makes a whole lot of difference. Having that, you know, constant source of vitamin D boosts our immune system, just gives us all the reasons to be outdoors rather than being stuck indoors. Which reminds me, actually, the snow has stopped. That's good. Depending on how cold it is outside, maybe we can go to the playground. This video is not about convincing anyone to move back to the Philippines if you're on the fence. It's more sharing our experiences and just like, I guess, reflections on how we see ourselves, how we see our lives, you know, moving forward, having lived in both countries. We've lived in the Philippines consistently for over a year, like a year and a couple months. But I think that's enough to make us realize that, you know, this is definitely the life that we want, and we are still on track. We are still going to pursue what it is that we set out to do in the Philippines. But yeah, it's I have to admit, it's super risky. Yeah, it's definitely not an easy decision. We still recommend for people to try living in the place where you want to move. So try living there for about 6 months minimum to see how it goes. I think it depends on the person. I feel like if you really want something to work, you will find opportunities and ways to make it work. So yeah, that's it. That was a very long answer to your question, the lost shop, but I'm glad that you sent us that question. Also, we don't plan to completely just disregard Canada. We still have family here, and I have all my sisters here. I still have to attend their weddings. I have to attend birthdays and stuff like that. So we're not completely cutting off Canada. Canada will always be a part of us. It will be our home as well. But having Philippines, being able to build our forever home there, it's just one of our dreams come true. So that's it, finally. I'm gonna call Skye now because we're gonna go have lunch, and we'll see you at the airport.